Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Money Matters TV. My name is Dan White. I'm the president, founder, and CEO of Daniel White and Associates. We are a retirement planning firm headquartered in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. We also have two satellite offices, one in Middletown, Delaware, and one a little further south in Lewis, Delaware. And we work primarily with people transitioning, making that transition into retirement. So we work with pre-retirees and people that are already retired, making sure that they can retire in the comfort and lifestyle they want without worrying about running out of money. And the big question I'm getting these days is everybody wants to know what's happening with the market. And I would have to say, turn the radio and the TV off if you're worried about the market. What we are seeing so far in March is a lot of oil volatility. I mean, ever since we went into Iran, the oil supply, everybody's worried about the oil, and that is what's driving the markets right now. This volatility is strictly about oil. We know gas prices went from about 290 up to about 350 in about a week. So when you get inflation news and the news about oil like this, the market is going to react. And we got a little relief yesterday. President Trump came out and said the war's almost over. That's good news. But I think they're also meeting. The G7 is meeting over there, talking about releasing some oil reserves that they have. And that kind of settled down the oil market a little bit and took it a little lower. But at the end of the day, you got to tune out the noise. And if you have a plan in place, follow the plan and don't worry about what's going on in the outside world. So it's kind of my spin on the markets today. And now I want to introduce my co-host. I'm pleased to say we have Robin Bond with us today. Robin is the founder of the employment firm Transition Strategies, LLC in Wayne, Pennsylvania. Her primary focus is to represent the employee's best interest in all types of workplace matters. Robin is a former criminal prosecutor and in-house corporate attorney known for her ability to help clients negotiate successfully for enhanced pay, perks, protections in both employment contracts and severance agreements, including issues relative to incentive and equity compensation. Robin has been actively involved in thousands of successful deals, and we're happy to have Robin join us today. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Thank you, Sam. So happy to be with you today.
Thanks. It's great to have you. And I've got a couple questions for you. I don't think we've ever done a show together, but what are some situations in which a person would want or need to call an employment lawyer?
Well, at the first sign of trouble, how's that? I tell everybody, if you have a problem at work, you think your boss is being mean to you or treating you differently, or you want to complain about something, please do not run to human resources and think that they are there to help you, because they're not. They're there to help management. So really at the first sign of trouble, well, what does that mean? Well, maybe the boss has given you a bad evaluation. You are unfairly criticized for something. You see something happening that isn't right or that violates policies or doesn't seem like it's lawful. The first thing you want to do is call an employment lawyer who in your jurisdiction, the state where you live, and run these facts by that lawyer to kind of get a sense of what you should do and how you should do it.
That's kind of, I'm thinking as you're speaking, that's got to be a little bit of a tricky situation. I mean, you correct employees all the time. When does, constructive criticism become, he's harassing me?
Well, here are some red flags to look for. Like the question might become like, well, is my boss just a tough boss? Or am I in a legally defined hostile work environment? Because people call me all the time. Even this morning, I just took a call. Oh, my boss is doing all these terrible things. Well, they weren't illegal. The question is your boss doing something to you because you've complained and they're retaliating against you? Is it because of your Title VII status, your age, race, religion, gender, national origin, disability, veteran status? So if you're not really sure why something is happening, that's when it's a good thing to go talk to an employment lawyer. What are the red flags for a hostile work environment? Things like, well, I thought these were my goals, but as soon as I hit the goals, my boss moved the goalpost so that I couldn't succeed. Okay. Secondly, the boss cuts me off from my support systems. I don't get the memos. I don't get invited to meetings. My boss ignores my emails. These are all like big red flag warning signs. The other thing might be, well, the boss denied that he told me to do something, blames me for things that, he told me to do last week. And these are the kind of things which really are red flags that you should be seeking out help.
So if somebody is having trouble at work or they feel like they're in a hostile environment, is there any kind of tips of things they can do before talking to an employment lawyer?
Well, documenting is really important. So if you're having a bad experience and you can go home and on a personal computer, never on a work computer, and not on a computer that is connected to a company server. Because even if your personal email is open on a home computer and it's connected to the company server, when the company server backs it up, they back up what's on your personal opened email. So you document what happened, what was said. Pretend you're a reporter, the who, what, where, when, why, how, what happened, what was the date, who was present, so you know the witnesses, and you're kind of developing a chronology of events, but you're keeping track of it because otherwise you have to keep track of it in your brain and you won't. And you forget things. So that's really important, is to document. And then secondly, or thirdly, I guess, after, let's just say the boss shifts a goal. You thought you achieved something and they said, well, no, now you have to do, 3 more sales within the next 30 days. So you would want to do a CYA kind of memo and document like, hey, although you told me this, now you're switching this goal, and whatever it is, you want to document what they said. So then if you can go out and achieve the next threshold or the next level, they can't say, oh, no, I didn't say 3, I said 6 sales. So you're trying to document. If the boss doesn't rebut what you say, you've sort of created the fact pattern. I see this a lot of times. People don't push back or they don't rebut to correct the record. And then the only thing that's ever in the file that the in-house employment lawyer sees is what the boss documented. They don't see any pushback or rebuttal, so they think the boss was, perfectly right in what they were doing.
Yeah, one of the things we had talked about before the program came on was this age discrimination. And I said that's got to be a pretty tough thing to prove. With my business, we deal with retirees, and you'll see people that come in and say, "Yeah, I was planning on working until 65, and 62 they quote eliminated my position."
Yeah.
Which did they eliminate, or hey, are they going to wait 6 months and then fill it with somebody at half the cost?
That could happen. In fact, I have situations like you're the top performing salesperson, yet when the RIF comes along, they keep the guy who's 20 years younger and hasn't sold a thing, and you're at 110% of quota. That's an age claim. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an age claim. So it depends on your facts. And this is why you really want to get legal counsel in your jurisdiction to assess what are your strategic best next moves. Might be filing a claim, which is the precursor to a lawsuit you have to file with the EEOC and the State Human Relations Commission, or it might be just trying to negotiate a better package and moving on. But please, there's a lot of age discrimination out there. Don't just sit back and let it happen to you. Get some help.
For sure, for sure. So we do have a question from our audience. Nancy Lehman out of Boston wants to know, can I use small claims court for a straightforward final paycheck claim?
Okay, happy to talk with you about that, Nancy. Depends again on your jurisdiction. The answer generally is yes. In commonwealths like Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, you use the magisterial district courts, and you can recover a straightforward sort of final paycheck, generally up to about $12,000. You don't need a lawyer to do this. It's a small claims administrative process, and you have to file in the jurisdiction either where you worked or where the company is located. Now, most states have wage payment laws like we do in Pennsylvania. And if you do not get your last paycheck on the next regularly scheduled pay date after it was due, it could be a violation of your state's wage payment law, which entitles you to damages, interest, penalties, and attorney's fees. So these are good claims to explore, because even if the value of the paycheck isn't that great, if attorney's fees can be recovered, attorneys may be interested in taking your claim. So good luck to you, and definitely pursue that.
Thanks for that answer, Robin. And if anybody of our listeners out there has a question for Money Matters, here's how you can send in your questions to get those answered.
You can have your questions answered on Money Matters. Please go to our website, money-matterstv.com. On our homepage, click on the banner on the right that says, Send us your questions. While you're on our website, you can find information about our host and guests, as well as show notes and links about this show and past shows. Money Matters is also available as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can listen to Money Matters while you're on the go. That website address, again, is money, MONEY, -matters, MATTERS, TV.com.